Happy Monday, everybody. I am Pastor KZ with the All About Favorite channel. Welcome, everybody. All of my current subscribers. You all have gotten me over 8,000. We must do some type of celebration. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. At the end of the video, comment, like it, and share it. All this week, I am continuing to represent in-state rivalry schools. Last Friday, I ended with the University of South Florida in Tampa. Their rivalry school is UCF, University of Central Florida, located in Orlando, Florida. It's just a little trip down I-4, y'all. All this week's topics, we're going to explore something very, very serious and deep. So before we get into that, I just want to let you know the eyewear that I will be wearing this week have all made the eyewear line. Thank you so much. The eyewear that I'm wearing, the big chunks all this week, has made the eyewear line. So what I'll do in the next couple of weeks is each week I will wear the pieces that have made the line. So thank you again for all of your help with your comments on that. This week, generational dysfunction. Generational dysfunction. After reading so many emails, y'all, over the past several weeks and dealing with family problems and family related issues and childhood trauma, I decided that I would dedicate this week just to scratch the surface a little bit about generational dysfunctionals. And I did not use the term generational curse for a reason. A lot of people, they don't like to hear that term curse because they see that as something that is taboo. So we're going to talk about it, generational dysfunctions. Now, just what do I mean by generational dysfunctions? What I'm talking about is this. It's a family that has a great deal of chaos, conflict, mental illness, either diagnosed or undiagnosed, poor communication, and an abusive environment, whether it's emotional abuse or physical abuse or sexual abuse. It also includes a lack of structure, or on the other end of the spectrum, too much structure. Substance abuse is there, just to name a few. It's other things within that, but we'll talk about that as time goes on. Now, I want to give this disclaimer. I am not a expert, no guru, a professional on relationships or generational dysfunction. I am just giving you some thoughts and opinions and some information that you, the subscribers and viewers, have given to me via email. Now, some of the things that occur in a dysfunctional home or dysfunctional family might include yelling and screaming. That's a means of normal communication for some. Violence, getting whipped or beaten beyond just a few little hand taps. Usually the weapon of choice in those type of families is usually belts, extension cords, switches, or even fan belts. Yeah, I got some viewers who've been beaten with fan belts, y'all. A lot of overindulgence in alcohol consumption or other mood-altering drugs. And like I said, this is not true for all, just some. This is just some of the things go on. Compulsive gambling is another issue that goes on. I have an email or so I'm going to share with you later in the week. Molestation is also in some dysfunctional families and homes. How are these things handled in these families? You know what? The number one thing I believe, and remember, I'm not here to offer any expertise. I'm simply giving my thoughts and opinions. But the number one way families choose to deal with this is secrecy. Secrecy. Followed by a close second, denial. Just walk around and act like this stuff don't happen. The third one, you making excuses for why this behavior takes place. Just all kind of excuses. The fourth one, I think, is blame. They blame other people, other situations on why they misbehave. Let me pause it here because someone may be asking, how can you know the difference between a dysfunctional family, or is this just a normal way of life? See, when you spend the majority of your time in chaos, in distress, in anxiety, that's a clear-cut sign that something is going on in that home that is dysfunctional. That's some signs right there. When you are afraid to go home or you hate going home, everybody run for cover when certain people come into the home. This just constant chaos, confusion, tension. Whenever that is going on, that's a clear-cut sign something going on inside the home. Now, in my opinion, I believe part of a healthy or a quote-unquote normal family is where love is shown, protection is demonstrated, nurturing is present, family members are supportive, whereas the opposite, I believe, is true in a dysfunctional home. For example, there's a lot of bullying going on. You know, you ever had a house, you ever seen people certain people in the home, they're nothing but bullies, just always pushing other people around. Like I said earlier, chaos is going on. It's always the calm before the storm. Toxicity, it's a lot of toxic stuff go on. Abuse, as I continue to repeat, because I have so many emails and I'm going to share a lot of them with you this week about different forms of abuse going on. And I think what I might do is pause those emails and do a whole week's show committed to talking about the different forms of abuse. I'll do that in the upcoming weeks. But those type of things are standard operating procedures in that home. Some of you watching know what this looks like. Some of you watching know what this feels like. Some of you watching are victims of what this is. Some of you have experienced these things and you have been able to walk around in secrecy for years. You just kept silent. You stuffed it down, or you just blocked it out. And I heard someone say something and I didn't think about the power behind what was said until I processed it. They said, you know what, Pastor KZ, I lived my whole life being another person. I created a whole nother person. I'm like, what do you mean by that? And the person explained, you know how Sybil, the movie Sybil was, or the Three Faces of Eve? I created different people or different versions of myself depending on where I was. And that was the only way I could cope. Because if I allowed the real me who was abused mentally, physically, and otherwise, if I allowed that person to come out and see, I would have fallen apart. I wouldn't have been able to cope because I had so many secrets of things that happened growing up in our home. And I said, I get what you're saying. She says, I became a whole different person. The person that most people see now is not even the real me. The real me have blocked out some things that have happened to me, because when I think about it and walk back through it, it is so painful. I'm not sure how I'm going to react. And I had another viewer say, Pastor KZ, I just have to block that out, because some of the people who have done some very bad things to me and violated me are still alive. I still see these people, and I have to be someone else when I'm around them, because I may put hands on them and do harm. I don't know what I'll do to them if I allowed myself to process all of that dysfunction. So a lot of you watching, I know you're going to get triggered from this week's shows, but I think getting triggered is going to help stir up some healing Sometime in order for something to heal, you've got to pull it off. You know, kind of like a burn victim. One of the things happens in the process of a burn victim's life is some of the skin has to get pulled back and pulled off and just let it be open for a while. And then they'll put a lot of medications on it and they'll tell you, let it breathe some, let it breathe. Sometimes that's what's going to happen when you are watching this week. Some of the things we're going to pull back the skin on, pull back the layers off the surface, and it's just got to let breathe. In order for it to heal, you got to expose it. You're exposing the skin now. And I know that is not going to be easy. It's hard, y'all, sometimes to walk back through pain. I don't care who says it's easy and they got over it in a snap. Walking back through pain, shame, humiliation, brokenness has started. A lot of this broken stuff happened with the dysfunction that's going on from generation to generation. Y'all, we're going to talk about this week. And I hope and I pray that through these shows that you've been watching and these videos that I do, I really pray that some healing takes place, some modifications in your behavior take place, because as we were talking about relationships last week, and we're not done with that, but I just need to talk about this generational dysfunction, because that will explain some of these behaviors some of these men have and some of you ladies have. So y'all stay with me this week, and we're going to talk about generational dysfunction. Please, if you have not started to journal, please pick up your journal from on Amazon, if you will. I have journals on there, so please take a look at them. It's the Walk-In Favor Journal from Pastor KZ. So take a look and pick up a journal, or just pick up a notebook or a pad. I just need you to start writing, because that is the therapy that's going to start with that. You know, it's not the end all, because some of you are going to have to seek out professional counseling, but the journaling will help. Thank you so much for watching, y'all. It's going to be a tough week, but stay with me. I'll see you back tomorrow.